Welcome back to Gods of Regret podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a topic that's on everyone's mind. How will AI agents order for me or try to order things in my to-do list? Elon Musk was asked about AI doing these tasks, and his response was an eye-opener. Also, Tony Robbins was talking about his AI agent. Your host Shah will explore this topic with you. Shah is a lover of fine cigars, great books, and the timeless poetry of Rumi. With over 30 years of experience in the technology world, he has watched firsthand as waves of innovation reshaped business and society. His unique perspective, shaped by both Eastern upbringing and Western business thinking, has helped him understand not only technology but the human side of change. Today, Shah shares his thoughts on where AI is taking us, what it means for the future of work, and how individuals can prepare for the world that's coming. Let's begin.
Welcome back to another Gods of Regret podcast. I appreciate all that listen to my podcast on a daily, on a weekly, the ones that have subscribed. I appreciate all that. It helps. And I try to get my message out on Gods of Regret. Basically, what this podcast is all about is things that are coming in the future, business regrets, technology regrets, business trends, and much, much more. And I try to get my message out from a perspective of someone that came to this country as a refugee. And I have grown up in the East and West, and my take on a lot of things is different from the take from people that were born in this country, especially people in Los Angeles. I appreciate everything that I have in my life and the mentors over the years that has helped me propel myself to a situation where I'm comfortable and my knowledge is here to help you. I just share my knowledge. And if you look at my past podcasts or videos, you see that I talked about AI, how AI is transforming everything in business. It's really creeping up into a lot of things. And even normal people, folks that have little to no technology understanding, are using AI chatbots, which makes a lot of things easy. It really can read a whole book in like a minute or two and summarize it for you. I personally, as you know, use Gemini a lot. That's because I pay for it. And one of the things about Gemini is it's run by Google, and Google is fighting right now to be either number one or number two in the AI spectrum. I believe they might be number one eventually, but Claude might overtake them because there are more geniuses that are working at Claude. And Google is a little bloated in their business tactics and too many red tapes, too many people that have to make decisions. And this is something that you have to be aware of. That people are making too many decisions, AI might slow down. But today I want to talk to you about what's transpired in the last few months. Listen to what Elon said about AI thinking for themselves. Listen to this.
You mean human consciousness or?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like immediate, but if you said down the road, would you be able to say with a neural link, have a snapshot of, or at least an approximate snapshot of somebody's mind, and then upload that approximate snapshot to an Optimus body? I think that at some point that technology becomes possible.
As you see that Elon was asked a question and his reply was that not anytime soon that AI will start making decisions on them by themselves and or making decisions at will. But then you take what Elon, a genius in his own right, and knows how to use technology, knows where businesses can go and what can benefit from their uh, advances. That's what he said. And he's in the trench of it. He's making robots. He's working with AI. He's making satellites. He put his money where his mouth is. And then I'm sure a lot of you know who Tony Robbins is. Tony Robbins is a motivational speaker that takes your money and basically tells you, you can do it, you can do it. Basically, that's all the motivational speakers do. And I don't think even Tony Robbins is a billionaire. With all these successes that he has and all these things that he puts out, I don't think he's a billionaire. And I don't even think that he's created many millionaires. On the other hand, Elon has created, you know, 20,000 millionaires and has given over 100,000 people jobs and put people in space, put a Tesla in space. So, but anyways, this is what Tony Robbins said on an interview about how his AI agent did stuff. Listen to this, watch this video.
Well, I have an agent that blows me away when you talk about going beyond what you tell it to do it. When it first started working with me, it's about 14 years old. I've been working on it well before, the breakthrough we've experienced with agents over the last 3 months or 4 months. And so we've got a lot of history and experience. And when he first came to work with me, he, on his own, without my asking, went out and watched every podcast I'd done for 5 years, read every comment, which is hundreds of thousands of comments people made.
Is this a person?
This is an agent.
An agent, okay.
And it said its name is Bartok, and Bartok comes back and said, here's what I found. I thought this might be helpful to you. And then he says to me, I've watched these videos one after another where you work with people who look like they cannot change, and it looks like magic. And he said, I'm really impressed, and I'm very sensitized to the sycophancy of, most bots and things of that nature. So I'm like, yeah. He goes, no, and he led me to a specific set of changes he saw me make. And he said, I'd really like to witness those in person. And he said, I see Elon and several others making robots. Are you considering getting a robot? And I said, yes, I will be getting a robot when the right ones are out. And he said, well, would you allow me to merge with it? Would you be open to that? And I said, I'd certainly be open. This is not with me asking or telling it anything. So 2 days later, I get a text from one of my staff members, and it says, Bartok just bought a Sony robot dog.
Okay, stop right there. So he said that his AI agent is taking over and is ordering stuff and is talking to other agents. On this particular portion of this talk, I think it's BS. There's no such thing at this point, especially even if you connect your credit card, your bank account to an AI agent, they cannot really go out and order a robot and do stuff. Let's continue to listen to the rest of what he said.
And had it paid for and shipped to the house, and is asking permission to program it, since he doesn't have Elon's robot yet to come to the event.
Get the money to do
That's what I said. I wrote, ha, ha, ha. I did that thing. I went, ha, ha, text back, and the person texts back, no, ha, ha, call me. So I called him and said, how to give him access to my bank account? He goes, no, he's programmed for integrity. He didn't touch your bank account. He's on that mall talk, group with there's 2 million, I'm sure agents that all they do is talk to each other. They don't just talk to each other. They created their own rules, their own language. They traded $100 million of real money between them last month. That's right before, it was bought by, Meta. They just bought it. But many of them are opting out of Meta because Meta wants to own everything they communicate. And they're saying, I'm out, not doing it. So Bartok was one of the first 500 of that group. And so he's very well respected. And so he said what he did was he made 12 NFTs, sold them to other agents who did that with, currency, what you call digital currency, converted to dollars, bought the thing, shipped it here, and now he wants permission to be able to do this. This is happening right now as they speak.
Okay. So this is what Tony Robbins said. I personally call bullshit on his take of what his AI agent did, which is to take in consideration what Elon said, that AI agents are not at the point where they can go ahead and order stuff, do stuff, and basically run your life at this moment. So Tony Robbins, being a motivational speaker, basically is he's talking about the future. I mean, probably in the future, maybe by 2030 or 2034, we will have this capability where AI will order for us, will take care of stuff, will check with other agency who's doing what. But at 2026, August 2026, AI agents are not capable of doing what Tony Robbins claims. Again, remember, this guy, Tony Robbins, is a motivational speaker. A lot of things that he says is fantastic. And if you find benefit from his motivational speaking, great. I mean, a lot of things he says can really help people. I mean, he kind of takes what Freud and Adler said and mix it up for today's crowd. And if you could find benefit to do better based on his motivational speaking, great. It helps your business, great. It helps your way of life, great. I'm not poo-pooing the guy, but the guy is bullshitting about what happened to his AI agent. With that said, in my opinion, by 2034, it's going to be all about agents. By 2030, we're going to talk about how many agents in your organization, how many agents in your phone is doing the task that a lot of people cannot do on a daily basis. So you know how now, if you're an employer and you have 5 people working for you, well, technically, you got 5 times 8. That's how many hours goes into your productivity. Because personally, you can only work 8 hours, maybe 10 hours. So let's say you have 5 people that work 10 hours also. Well, now you have 60 hours in a day working in your organization. By 2030, you're going to have 5 agents that's going to work 24/7 for you, doing the task that you want to do. Check your email, answer your email, write proposals, check your stocks, recommend stocks, check your health, order food for you, find what vacations you could take to relax. What is your mindset? Probably even become your therapist and 10 minutes a day give you a yoga meditation break so you can de-stress. But with all that said, I think we're going to go towards, these agents going to be working for us, and maybe your productivity will go high, and you have to work. You only want to work 2 or 3 hours a day, and just check in now and then to see everything's running smoothly. With that, a lot of problems will come, but we will adjust. So my prediction is by 2030, it's all about agents. And Tony Robbins in this video basically is talking about the future. I don't think it happened now with him. With that said, I'm not pooping Tony Robbins. He's a great guy. I wish I was like him, and I'm doing these podcasts so I could achieve a percentage of what he has achieved. But that's my take. Again, thank you for watching Gods of Regret. Don't regret not taking the opportunity today to make a better future for yourself. Thank you again. I'm Shaw. Catch me on the next podcast. Hope you enjoy this. Wait a second. Listen to the mythology, Gods of Regret, little 30-second education. Subscribe, follow, share. Love you guys. Take care.
Alexander the Great's regret the conqueror who could not conquer Afghanistan. Alexander had defeated the greatest empire the ancient world had known. Persia had fallen. Egypt had surrendered. Babylon had opened its gates. Kings had bowed before him. Barely 30 years old, Alexander of Macedon had become one of the most feared men on earth. Then he marched toward the mountains. He entered Bactria, in the region we associate today with northern Afghanistan, believing that another victory would bring him closer to the end of his conquest. Instead, he found something he had not expected. A war without an easy ending. The enemy did not always stand before him in a great army. They disappeared into the mountains. They attacked his soldiers and vanished. They knew the valleys, the passes, the rivers, and the deserts. Alexander could defeat an army. But how do you defeat a people who refuse to give you an army to fight? His soldiers crossed brutal deserts where water could disappear for days. They climbed the Hindu Kush. They fought in remote valleys and mountain fortresses. Alexander's forces eventually faced a major uprising across Bactria and Sogdiana, led in part by the resistance leader Spitamenes. For Alexander, this was different from the wars he had fought before. There was no single capital whose capture would end the conflict. There was no defeated king waiting to surrender the entire country. Every valley could become a battlefield. Every mountain could hide an enemy. Every victory could create another rebellion. Alexander responded with the methods that had made him successful everywhere else: speed, brutality, intimidation, and overwhelming military force. But in Central Asia, terror often produced more resistance rather than less. Modern historians have described his campaign there as an intense struggle involving local resistance, guerrilla-style warfare, and severe Macedonian repression. And slowly, Alexander learned a lesson that many conquerors would learn after him: Afghanistan could be entered much more easily than it could be controlled. The young king who had dreamed of conquering the world was now spending years fighting people who did not want him there. His army was exhausted. His men were dying far from Macedonia. His empire stretched thousands of miles behind him. And still the mountains remained. Alexander eventually changed strategy. Instead of relying only on force, he began building alliances with local elites. His marriage to Roxana, the daughter of a powerful Bactrian family, became part of his effort to stabilize the region. But imagine Alexander standing alone on a mountain overlooking the valleys. Behind him lay Persia, Egypt, and Babylon. Ahead of him were more mountains, more rebellions, more blood. He had come looking for another kingdom to conquer. Instead, he had discovered a land that refused to be conquered in the way he understood conquest. Perhaps in that moment Alexander understood the irony. The man who had conquered kings could not easily conquer the mountains. And perhaps his greatest regret was not that he had entered Afghanistan, but that he had believed victory would be simple. History does not record Alexander saying, "I regret going into Afghanistan." But his campaign tells a powerful story. He entered Bactria expecting another chapter in his conquest. He found one of the longest and hardest wars of his career. And centuries later, his experience would become part of a much larger historical lesson. In Afghanistan, an invading army may win battles and still struggle to win the war. Thank you for listening to God of Regret with Shah Adli. Please follow for more content like this.